If you're tired of looking for grants but you keep coming up empty-handed, I want you to watch this video, because the problem isn't that there aren't grants for your nonprofit. The problem is that your process and your approach needs some tweaking. So in this video, I'm going to give you some no-nonsense advice about what to do when you're looking for grants to make sure you find the right grant for you. And in this video, I'm talking about nonprofit grants. I'm not talking about for-profit business grants or grants for individuals. Just had to put that caveat out there. So first, we're going to talk about what you need to know and understand about yourself and your nonprofit first. Then we're going to talk about what you need to know and understand about the industry and what's happening in the environment around you. Third, we're going to talk about the specifics of the grant and what you need to know about grant rules and grant guidelines. And finally, we're going to talk about tools or search engines that you can use to find grants. So the first thing you got to do when you're looking for the right grant for you is first to understand what you need the money for. And it sounds so odd, or it sounds so simple. You're like, Tiffany, I need the money for this organization. But it's interesting, when I talk to people, they often don't know what they intend to use money for. They often know, okay, I need to raise money, and they may even know the amount. Some people don't even know the amount, but they don't really have a clue about how they're going to actually use that money and what it's for. And it's really important for you to know that for grants, because that helps guide you to the right opportunities, because every grant is not the same, and the large majority of grants do not pay all of your expenses that are associated with running your program and running your organization. So the first thing you got to do is first understand, how much am I looking for? What is it going to be used for? And how flexible do I need that money to be? So some of the things you need to consider are, first of all, are you looking for a program grant or a general operating grant? There are other types of grants, but those are the two main categories that you're going to see. And program grants are way more common than any other grant. And it's just how it sounds. They're giving you money to pay for a particular program. That money probably is restricted in some way. You may not be able to use all of that money for all of your program expenses, and it's time limited. So grants are not perpetual, even though I have been involved in some grants that have been perpetual, but the vast majority of grants are not perpetual, which means they don't last forever and ever. And they may last probably on average up to 2 or 3 years for those funders who like to fund over and over again, but that's not all funders. So are you looking for a program grant that's going to cover restricted activities, or are you looking for a general operating grant? And that's unrestricted funding, where the funder is giving you money to use for your organization. It does not have to go to a specific program. It just goes to whatever is needed in that organization. I want you to understand, though, those are rarer, I think I said that word right, than program grants. And they're hard to find, and a lot of funders, let me just say it, are stingy about that and don't want to give you autonomy about how to use their money, even though they're donating it to you and trusting you to do the right thing. They don't want to give you that level of autonomy. So just be mindful that even if you know you're going to be looking for general operating grants in your search, you're not going to find as many as you would with program grants. Here's some other questions you need to know before you even start. Do you have a budget for your organization? What is it? And typically when I say budget, I just mean, what's the total cost of your expenses in the year? That's what a lot of people mean when they say budget. Do you have a budget for your overall organization? And do you have a budget for the particular program? If you're looking for funding for just a program, you need to know that, because grant funders will have stipulations. Sometimes they won't fund organizations who have a budget smaller than a certain amount. Sometimes they will fund only organizations with budgets less than such and such and such. And they want to see your budget so they can understand how much they want to give. Some funders will give according to what your budget is. So if you've never dealt with more than $25,000 with a grant, then a funder is way less likely to give you $100,000 or a large amount if you don't have the experience handling that amount of money. Just keep in mind, though, that there are a lot of caveats to this, and if a funder wants to fund you in a certain way, then they will. And I've seen this firsthand, but those are exceptions, and those are when you have tight relationships and a lot of trust in those relationships, which most people don't have when they're just applying for grants. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and understand there may be some specifics or details that differ for you as you go to different funders. Here's some other things you should consider or think about before you start searching for grants. What is my target population? What is my target demographic? Who am I targeting with my services? Because most funders organize their funding within program areas. And those program areas are organized either by a topic or they're organized by a local area, and they could also be organized by the type of person or persons you serve. So it can help you quickly identify whether or not that funder is for you if you're very clear on who you serve and who's the target demographic in your organization and with your programming. Another thing you want to think about is what kind of services are we providing? Are you providing food? Are you providing cash? Are you providing a service where you have to pay somebody to do the work? All of those things have implications for your budget, and they also have implications for how your money is going to be spent. So for example, you have a program where you need like case managers or mentors that are paid to do one-on-one work with your participants. Well, you're gonna have to pay them a salary, and some of them may actually be employed and not just independent contractors. Well, there may be some funders who don't want to pay salaries, who only want to give money for certain things. You need to understand that. On the flip side, maybe you want to give out cash to people. Well, there are a lot of funders, let me just say, who don't want to give you grant money just as a way to funnel cash to someone else. On their side, to be honest, there are some liability concerns there, right? Like how you deciding who gets the cash, and that's risky for them. But also, that's just not traditionally how funders have given out money. There are some funders who are experimenting with cash benefits and doing that. But let me just say again, those experiences or those circumstances are rare, and the vast majority of funders do not want to just give money to an organization for you to pass out money to other people. The other question I would ask myself is, what are the anticipated outcomes of our work? So maybe we're impacting mental health or physical health. Yeah, we may have a music program, but in the end, we want to impact someone's mental health. Well, you should be looking for music grants and mental health grants. That expands your thinking, it broadens your thinking, because a lot of people are like, there's just not enough grants that cover the kind of work that I want to do. And that may not necessarily be true, because you're still helping people in a certain way, and there are funders who want to impact people in that way. How you do it may not matter to them, the outcome may matter more. So you could be a music program or a food program or a writing program and impact mental health, and all those kind of programs can still be funded by the same funder. So that's number one, and doing this first really helps you identify the opportunities that are right for you and that are not right for you. Here's the second thing you need to do. You need to read the room. What do I mean by read the room? You really need to understand what's happening in your industry and what's happening in terms of funding priorities. You need to know who the top funders are in your area, and you just need to understand what's happening. I'm recording this video in early 2025, and there have been several freezes and reviews of federal contracts and funding. And if I was a nonprofit going after federal government funding, and that was my sole source or primary source of my funding, I'd be a little cautious right now. There is no telling what's going to happen over the next 4 years when it comes to federal government and contracts, but what I can say is that more than likely they will align very well with the current administration's thinking and values, and there are certain organizations that will just be completely shut out. If you need more details about that and you need to understand why that's important to know, then check out this video that I did above, and it'll go in a little bit more detail about policy impacts on your nonprofit and your funding. But it's not just that. Let me give you another example. So I am a social worker, and my career has been in child abuse and neglect. And there was a major legislation passed a few years ago which impacted how programs are funded and which impacted what the federal government was willing to reimburse for and not willing to reimburse for. So if you're running a group home with certain stipulations, then the federal government has a disincentive for funding those type of group homes. Why? because research has shown that those placements are not as effective for young people unless certain things are in place. So if you go into it willy-nilly and like, oh, I'm just gonna have a group home and I'm gonna get government funded, you're not reading the room. So understand legislation that's impacting your industry. Understand funding trends and funding priorities. Understand the language of the top funders in your space. Look into the government agencies that typically fund your work, the foundations that typically fund your work, or the corporations, and see how they're talking. See what the trends are. See which direction they're going. And here's the thing. If they're going in a direction that is not in alignment with your organization and your values, okay, then that's information you need to know, because that will help you devise a strategy about, well, maybe I won't pursue those types of grants and I need to make sure that we're pursuing a different kind of funding. It helps to be strategic when it comes to grant funding, to make sure that you're doing the right thing and anticipating and forecasting and all the things. The last thing I'll say about reading the room is look at other nonprofits that have similar missions or who are in your local geographic area, because that will give you clues as to where their sources of income are and what's working. If those organizations seem to be thriving, especially in environments where it's tough when it comes to grant funding, then look at who funds them, look at their strategies, look and see what works for them, and use those clues to help devise the right strategy for you. Number 3 is going to be really simple. Read the instructions and make sure that the grant you're pursuing or looking at is a good fit. So many times people see an inkling of something. Oh, well, it mentions this, so we might be able to go after this organization or go after this funding. In my opinion, that's a huge waste of time, because you're going through all the motions of putting together a grant proposal or a package with a really low probability that you'll win. And one thing I've learned, especially from grant writers who have a high probability of winning, there are some grant writers who just have really good odds at winning proposals. There's a lot that goes into it. The organization's credibility and the work and the programming absolutely has a lot to do with it. But what also has a lot to do with it is that those good grant writers only go after the opportunities where there's a higher probability that they're going to win. So they go after winning strategies. They don't just do like the crop dust approach and just go after everything. You know what that does? That wastes your time and wastes your energy. And when you apply for 100 grants and you win 1 or you win 2, do you know how discouraging that feels? Do you know how depleting that can feel? Versus you going after 20 curated, very specific opportunities that you know are a good fit for you. And even if you still only win 1 or 2 in those opportunities, it's still less time and effort. And who's not to say that in those opportunities, because you took more time and care and attention, that you can't cultivate a relationship, apply again, and actually win the next time that you go after that funding. So if a funder puts out guidelines for their grant, read them. Go to their website, read the guidelines, read the frequently asked questions. For those funders who do have websites or who do produce detailed requests for proposals or RFPs, read them. They're not suggestions. They are decisions that those funders made specifically to make sure that they attract the right programs or organizations. They're not trying to waste their time either. So do both of yourselves a favor and read thoroughly the instructions. And if you don't fit their need or you don't fit their guidelines, then don't spend all your energy on that. Now, there's always a caveat when it comes to nonprofits. So the caveat I will say is this. Sometimes you're not a good fit, but you feel like by developing a relationship with the funder and helping them understand the work that you do, that you may be able to get funding eventually. That's a long game. That takes time, energy, and effort. And for some people, it pays off and it's worth it. If you believe that funder is worth it, then by all means, try that approach. But don't do that for everything, because you're going to waste your time. And finally, use a tool to save time. Now, I'm kind of a cheapskate. Maybe I'll say it in a better way. I'm frugal. I don't like spending money for certain services, but I have realized, especially as I've run a business, that I need to save time and be efficient where it matters. And if I'm doing something over and over again, or I'm doing something that really impacts my bottom line, but I don't have the time, or I'm taking too much time to do that, then I better find a service or something to help speed up that process so I can get to my bottom line faster. So what am I saying? Your bottom line is a nonprofit, or one of your bottom lines is you gotta get money. It's hard to run with no money in the bank. So whatever you can do to help find the right opportunities in a faster, more efficient way, you should do it. So try grant search engines that curate opportunities for you and find the right opportunities by category or by population. Try the foundation directory online. That's kind of the OG, like the original like search engine for grant opportunities or for funders. But there are also other services that are effective: GrantStation and Instrumental. I'm only calling out those three because they're the ones that I have experience in, and they're the ones I know that I can vouch for that are helpful. Now, they have different styles and there are different prices for all three, and they don't all fit your needs. So that's why you got to understand what you're trying to get out of this first, and that will help you find the right tool, because they all are good for certain things. They're good based on the type of organization you are or the number of grants that you want to go after. So if you're not going to pursue a lot of grants, then I wouldn't use like a really expensive service, but they're there for you if you need them. Also, I just want to give you a heads up. I've talked about this in other videos like this one where I talked about services you can get for free. You can access the foundation directory online for free if your local library has access to it, and you can go to the candid.org website to find out the nearest library that has a subscription to the foundation directory online. Also, if you just don't have the money right now and you want to accelerate the process and you need help finding strategies to find grants without spending money, then I did create a free worksheet. It's a worksheet where it's like takes you through several steps, ask you certain questions to help you find grant opportunities without using a search service and without paying for that. If you want to see that grants worksheet, then comment grants worksheet below and I will send you the link. And also you'll be added to my mailing list because I send 3 free grant opportunities every Friday. So we've come to the end of the video, and I just want to give this piece of advice. Some people take the approach where they just like send the same application to multiple funders and just hope and pray for the best. If that's you or that's what you choose to do, fine. But my advice is to have a much more relationally based approach where you're trying to understand the funder, you're trying to understand what they want to accomplish, what their goals are, and you are aligning yourself with the funders that fit best what you want to do. That's a more effective approach in the long term, and just understand with any grant strategy, it's a long game. If you need help with your nonprofit, visit me at bossonabudget.com. I have resources there to help you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.